Why the Philadelphia 76ers have not blown it up yet for this season is beyond me at this point. I'm truly baffled, and I can't believe I'm making another video on this team. But oh my gosh, what are they doing? Now, they might lose enough games as a full team somehow that it just doesn't wind up mattering that much, and they wind up somehow lucking into keeping their pick anyway. But let's remember, their pick is only top 6 protected. Otherwise, it transfers to OKC. They are now 20-35. They've lost 6 games in a row, and yet they bring Joel Embiid back tonight. 27 minutes, 3 for 9 from the field, scores 15 points, 9 of them from the free throw line, is a -20. Really not a contributor across the board. Paul George with a decent but not special game of 17 points on okay-ish efficiency. Tyrese Maxey's fine, but only takes 10 shots. He's a -25. Kelly Oubre, again, 1 for 6 from 3. He has shot the 3 ball well, poorly all year. Never been a great shooter, but especially this year, it's been a struggle. Like, you just look at this team and it's just like, oh my gosh, there is just not a lot to like about this squad whatsoever right now. The only pieces that I like are guys like Quentin Grimes, Gershon Yabusele, Tyrese Maxey's been great, man, but he can't carry him by himself. Paul George isn't the player that they signed, that they thought they signed, I should say. Joel Embiid's been hurt all year and isn't the same player anyway when he's playing. Like, the fact they have not shut down Embiid and Paul George yet and just said, go try to get healthy for next season. Let's just reset and pray we keep our pick and move on and hope we can salvage something out of this trio and out of this team. Not to mention, I think there's a real possibility Paul George gets traded in the offseason. I think there's a real possibility that the Sixers are just like, we need to cut our losses and try to get off of this contract before it becomes the worst contract in the league. I'm truly lost. Like, that's almost how I feel about this team at this point. The fact that they have not shut down Embiid yet is mind-boggling to me. He again came out and said last week he thinks he might have to have surgery. What are we doing here? Am I missing something? Why is he playing? They get killed by the Celtics tonight at home. Now, the Celtics are a really good team, but it wasn't a competitive game. They were down 26 points going into the fourth quarter. Like, this was an uncompetitive game from start to finish. The Sixers were clearly outclassed by a much better Celtics team. And I just don't see, like, it's not a shame to lose to the Boston Celtics, but getting just destroyed on your home court while being basically as fully healthy as you're going to be is a really bad sign. They have now lost 8 of their last 9 and 6 straight, like I said. And the biggest issue is you look at the schedule and it's actually not that hard. You got Brooklyn, Chicago, Portland, Utah, Atlanta, Toronto, San Antonio with no Wemby, Atlanta again, the Pelicans, Washington, Toronto, Miami, Washington, Atlanta, Chicago. They have so many easy games coming up that it's like they're gonna win themselves out of even having a chance at a top pick this year. And I think that's the worst part. Let me pull up the Tankathon lottery odds real quickly. Where they are right now, they have the 6th best lottery odds, which means they have a decent chance, almost 50%, 40-something% chance at a top 6 pick. But the standings are not kind to them, man, because you look at the league-wide standings, sure, they're lurking right here in that bottom 6 or 7 range, tied for 6th with the Nets. They need to continue to be bad, though, which is why blowing it up right now. And oh my gosh, turns out Tyrese Maxey has a hamstring injury. He's going to miss a month. Oh my goodness, we're going to pull Joel Embiid out because we're concerned about swelling in his knee. Season's over. Paul George has this phantom injury. Or, we're worried about the hyper extension of his knee earlier in the year, and we're going to hold him out. Like, it would not be hard to go from a bad team to an even worse team. And they need to do that now, because despite not trying to be bad, they have managed to lose enough games where they're in a position that they have an actual chance at a top 6 pick. The Nets are trying to win. They're not good, but they're competitive. Cam Johnson, Nick Claxton, guys like that are going to go out there and try on a night-to-night basis. And D'Lo's going to have his moments. Cam Thomas is going to have his moments offensively. Like, they're going to win some games. The Raptors are relatively competitive at times. I mean, they've won 4 of their last 10 games. They're another team that could potentially, they're only 3 games below the Sixers. They could potentially pass the Sixers as well if the Sixers can get it together and start losing now. The problem is, again, they have one of the hardest schedules, or one of the easiest schedules left in basketball. Let me just check and see real quickly. Remaining schedule strength. They have the 3rd easiest schedule left in basketball. Makes sense. Well, luckily for them, Washington, Toronto do as well. Toronto especially. They need Toronto to win. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But this is a team that, like, the fact they haven't blown it up yet is truly mind-boggling to me. And If they don't soon, they're going to, because they want to, I guess, make the play-in, because the Eastern Conference is so trash that they somehow still have a real chance at the play-in, only a game and a half out of it. There's only 6 good teams in the Eastern Conference, maybe 7 if the Magic can somehow figure something out offensively one of these days. The Heat aren't good. The Hawks aren't good without Jalen Johnson. The Bulls are terrible. Like, you might actually make the playoffs if you make the play-in, but that does nothing for you. Getting absolutely embarrassed by a Cleveland or Boston team in the first round is like, what's the point? Am I missing something? This feels like a total waste of a season, and it's going to be even more of a waste of a season if you wind up with the 9th pick and you send it to OKC and you get nothing out of this. Gerson Yabusele is a 1-year deal. There's no guarantee they bring him back next year. He's in one of their biggest pieces. There's no guarantee that Embiid stays healthy. And again, if he's going to need surgery, shut him down now. Give yourself as much time as possible. It's February. Give yourself 6 to 8 months to get him ready for the season. I don't get what we're doing here. Maybe I'm missing something, but this feels like a no-brainer for a team that has no hope of doing anything good at this point in the year and is proving to not even be a good team with Embiid, with Paul George, with guys like that. What is the point? I just don't get it. I'm so confused as a fan of basketball why they are insisting on playing these guys. And they're so lucky that it's actually working and they're somehow losing games. But with how easy their schedule is upcoming, I don't see how that is sustainable. I feel like they're going to win themselves too many games and they're going to wind up in the play-in, and they might even wind up squeaking into the playoffs, but they're going to wind up out of a top 6 pick, which is the most important thing for this season. And they are somehow, by the grace of God, in a position where if they shut it down now, they have a very real chance at keeping their pick and having the ability in a very good draft, a very loaded draft, a ton of NBA ready talent and future pieces to add an impact player that in going into the season, you would have never thought you'd have the opportunity to do. And look, it's been an awful year. It's been really unfortunate and disappointing for Sixers fans, but that could be the silver lining. If you finish off this season with the 8th or 9th pick and you send it to OKC and this is a total wash and your roster's the same next season and everybody's a year older and there's still all these injury concerns and you didn't get anything out of this disaster of a year, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. This is just, it's becoming worst case scenario for Philly fans when it comes to basketball. Luckily for them, they just won a Super Bowl, so I think they'll be okay. But the basketball team sucks. And I don't know what the plan is to fix it at this point. I mean, Daryl Morey's job, I think, legitimately might be in question. That might be part of why they don't want to blow it up, because Daryl Morey doesn't want to blow it up. Nick Nurse is going to lose his job. Like it feels like it could be a whole reset in Philly almost in a lot of ways. But they're stuck with these albatross contracts of guys like Embiid and Paul George, and it extremely limits their flexibility. That's why it's so important to keep their pick this year. I don't know if I'm missing something. Maybe I am, but I don't feel like I am. If somebody has a better explanation as to why they're still trying to win games and why they won't shut these guys down, let me know in the comments, because I'm truly baffled. But I hope y'all did enjoy the video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. We'll be back with more NBA content very, very soon. I appreciate y'all. Peace.